Hi, let's talk about how we fire our test strip. So I have my test strip on a wire rack. So then I'll pop that into the kiln. Got my little feet there to give good air circulation, and then I just close the door. Alright, and that's as simple as that, and then program. Hi, now we're going to add a wire rack with our little test strip into the kiln. I've got 4 little feet there, and they have different names in different places, but I always call them feet and call them chairs, whatever suits. And that's just to keep the air circulating right around it. Let's close my door and switch her on. I'm going to go to program 1 because that's what I've got mine set up as. I'm just waiting for the to indicate. Alright, so let me go back into the center here. It'll take me through the different programs on my machine. Mine's quite old, so you probably have more. If yours is a newer, you'll have more programs on it, but I just use these only few programs. I don't need any more. Alright, so we have this is just off full ramp. That's what I use, but you might want to use, that's almost ramp 5. You might want to use ramp 4, which is 830. Then we've got here, which is the burn off temperature that we're going to get to, so that's 350 Celsius. That's a hold time. We want to hold it that time, so it needs to suspend for that time. So for that amount of time is 45 minutes that we've got to hold for, and I don't need the next program after that, and I just get through and then it just comes on. So, and then just wait for it to click on just to make double check that everything's okay. There we go. Alright, so let me go back through and do the ramp again. Alright, so the ramp means how the speed. It's a bit like accelerating in your car. You put your foot down on the accelerator, and that declares on how fast you're going to get to your destination. You've got a destination you know you're going to. Well, this is like a destination, and what it's going to do is this is going to be how fast. So depending on how fast your foot is on the pedal, how low down it goes, it will depend on, and basically it's the same principle. It's just how fast it gets to how fast to get to its destination, and which is its destination, as far as the kiln's concerned, is 350. So, and that's the speed in which it will travel to. So that's a little bit of more information about ramp. I hope that helps. So I'm just going back through 350, which is again is what I said, which is our temperature, and this is a hold time, which is hold how long we're going to have that on for. Now we don't need to have that on for 45 minutes, but I would suggest around about 20 minutes. Okay, so there we go with that, and we're off and running. I hope that helps anybody who has had issues with trying to work out how their kiln works. Alright, so once our piece has burnt off, everything's finished. Let's turn that. Waiting for, I need to change that. I sit it over here. You sit it on anything you like, but I sit it on there just to cool down. So we need to let that cool down. Once that cool down, then we can go into, use some sort of tongs or something that helps you get that out. Or you can leave it to cool down then in your kiln, but it just takes longer. So that decision is yours. Alright, so let's put the test strip into the kiln. I've got just an old little stainless steel container. When I'm doing testings, I like to use this size because it's more convenient and you're not using as much product. So I'll just scoop up a little bit, which is around about 18 millimeters at the bottom, and then I'm just going to grab my test strip very, very carefully. It's very brittle. No longer now does it have any binder or anything to hold it together, so it will come apart or break very, very easily. So I'm just scooping up the rest of that. Be careful about the dust. It is good to do this outside. Good to have a mask on. Alright, so I filled that up right to the top, which is generally what I do. It's giving me enough length in that, as in depth, for that to fire well. Push them together, sit that on there and close the door. Alright, and let's go program to 2. Right, so I'll go to program 2, and alright, so that's my temperatures. Let me run that through that again, because that was only done, I've just done that quick. Alright, so back to the beginning, program 2. That's my ramp speed. Now, even if your kiln does ramp fast, it doesn't matter. You in stage 2, you can use this, or full ramp or just off full ramp. I just always use just off full ramp. It works out really well. Okay, so next this is my temperature for my gold bronze in my kiln. It might be more or it might be less in yours. You have to test that. So that is the temperature, 803 Celsius. And our hold time, which is how long it's going to hold at that temperature. So the 803, the hold time is how long it's going to be sitting there suspended in that temperature, which is 2 hours. The rest of the program section up there I don't use, and I just turn on, and then we're off and running. So that's pretty much how you set your kiln up, and for doing in carbon. Let me just take that out, and I'll just turn that off, and I'll just quickly show you. Now, when I get mine out of the kiln, I generally got some gloves on and that, or if you're going to get it out cold, that's up to you. I generally get it out while it's still quite warm, and I use my tongs very carefully. And let me see if you can still see my container on the side. And then because I don't have a lid on this little unit, I actually then just cover it if it's still quite warm. If the container is round about, if my temperature is saying somewhere around about 700 or 600, I'll take it out of my kiln and set it aside somewhere safe where there's no problems with I've got a nice brick underneath, I've got a nice hot and these are all kiln shelf, and keeping that the air out of it, it gives you a nice clean look. So once it's cooled down, then we're all good to go. And then I'll come back and I'll show you on how to make sure that your piece is sintered. Right, so once you got it cooled down, you get your piece out, then what you do is you grab a little pair of nose pliers and make sure that it bends. Right, bends right around. Give yourself a nice little curl. Now, if at that stage it cracks right through here, through the tension that you created, what you're best to do is put it in the kiln and then raise the temperature, just the temperature. You still need to do the same whole time, but you would put this back in the carbon, exactly the same process. We start with stage 2. You don't need a brand new piece, you just stay with this piece, and then where that snapped off there, you can just come back, and that's why I always create a little bit longer, so that length will allow you then to come and use this next section to bend. So use the same piece, raise the temperature, keep it still at the 2 hours, which is fine. It just means that your kiln wasn't hot enough to get a sintered. So that's pretty much all you need to do. From there, now you're happy with that, you can run the test again, do it with a brand new piece and do it all over again, and you can double check again. if you're one of these kind of people that like to check. But apart from that, then you all go to add in your designs. If your designs become quite thick and large, I would then extend your burn off time. I would extend your time in stage 2. So your burn off stage is stage 1. Extend your time when you're getting into stage 2. So go from 2 hours maybe to 2.5 or maybe 3 hours. But the bigger your designs are, the longer time you should have in. It'll give you a really good center. So I hope that helps you guys, and enjoy and have fun. Anytime that you need any help, just ask.